For most children, Christmas is a really exciting time of year. But for 9-year-old Zach Dyson, this Christmas will be his first without his younger sister, Neve.
I'm Zach, and I'm 9 years old. On the 22nd of February, my sister passed away. I was very, very sad to have to say goodbye. Christmas won't be the same. We really enjoyed waking up every Christmas, jumping on the bed at like 6 o'clock. It was super funny. I just loved being with her all the time. We were like best friends and like the same family.
Zach and Neve were born with a really rare and severe immune deficiency that meant their bodies just weren't able to fight off infections, and they were constantly struggling with illness.
We were told by the bone marrow transplant team that our children had a 25% chance that they would die within the first 6 months of a transplant. We were frightened that we were going to lose not one but 2 of our children, but we decided they had to do it. We had to give them a chance of life.
When he was 5, Zach underwent chemotherapy and spent 7 weeks in hospital in isolation.
He was so brave going through his chemo. He used to be sick, and then he'd get a tissue and wipe his mouth and say, right, I've had my chemo, sick, can we carry on playing? I was petrified because we didn't have nurses at home to do the medicines and look after Zach. But thankfully, we were referred by our community nurse to Alexander Devine Children's Hospice, where we met Catherine. Catherine was our lifesaver.
Sharon and her husband Nigel then made the decision when Neve was 5 years old for her to go and have her bone marrow transplant too.
She was a bit more frightened of being poorly and a little bit more scared about what she might go through. Catherine again played another vital role in preparing her for that, and her sessions with Neve were very play orientated, but it was all about the process she would have to go through.
Unfortunately, Neve's transplant didn't go so well and she developed a virus.
It had started attacking all her organs in her body, and she became in so much agonising pain. Catherine still came every Monday, and even if it was just to sit there and stroke her head, hold her hand, talk to her, read her stories, Catherine still did it.
I can remember last Christmas with Neve. All she had was a wheelchair, so she couldn't walk really.
It was good to have her home for Christmas.
I got to open my presents with her and everything's super fun.
Not long after Christmas, Zach and his parents had to face losing Neve.
She was in intensive care. At that point, I was getting kind of worried.
We just didn't know how to break it to Zach. I remember Catherine being really calm and just talking to him and telling him, and I remember Zach crying.
I just knew and couldn't like handle it.
You know, Catherine, I just remember staring at her, just thinking, my God, what would we do without her? This year's obviously our first Christmas.
I think it wouldn't be the same as like last Christmas.
It will be a difficult one, we know that.
Was it?
I don't feel like we're doing it on our own.
Because I think I remember wrapping.
We have Alexander Devine, and they've always been there for us.
I think we'll still enjoy it and we'll still remember her. And be happy that at least we had a sister.
Will you help Zach and his family this Christmas?
Please help me raise money for Alexander Devine in memory of my little sister Neve, so they can help children and families like mine. £10 will just make a big difference.